Now, if you're familiar with this channel, you might have seen the title of this video and thought, why is he reviewing a movie? Or, hey, I remember that game. And if you're not familiar with this channel, then, I don't know, guess I didn't care. During the era of Legends, almost every single movie that was released had a video game to complement it. Sometimes, most of the time, these games were not of a high quality. Oh, I would know. At least half of my catalog growing up was movie tie-in games. So yeah, I played a good handful of them. But one was different. With stunning visuals, a compelling narrative, and some decent gameplay, everything in this game caused it to stand out as one of the greats. Peter Jackson's King Kong, the official game of the movie. Everything except the title helped cement it as one of the most ambitious movie tie-in games, and for me, one of the coolest. This game is deserving as any for a new twist in the musical sound. So, let's give it just that. This is how Peter Jackson's King Kong, the official game of the movie, should have sounded. Okay, so we're going to be looking at one of the most high energy levels in the game, V-Rex. In this game, there are two styles of gameplay. There's playing as Jack Driscoll and playing as King Kong. So, in this level named V-Rex, we're playing as Jack. Hey, if you want a King Kong video, go ahead and jump in those comments. Slap the like button, subscribe, okay? Say Strong Kong, okay? Strong Kong. Might sound weird, that's the best I could come up with, all right? Let me know Strong Kong, you wanna see King Kong beat stuff and be strong, all right? Back to the video. So the level starts out with our trio of Jack, Carl, and Hayes, tracking down Anne and the rest of their crew's whereabouts. They arrive at a small clearing where they see some of the other crew members who crash landed on Skull Island. The crew members warn Jack and the others of a big monster that was chasing them, thinking that they might have lost it. Suddenly, their hopes are shattered and the beast appears, the V-Rex.
Run, Jimmy, run!
The dinosaur snatches one of the crew members up on the pathway, and then it turns its attention to us. Not good. So our group runs away and finds a door that needs two people to open it. Carl and Hayes start to open the door, but they won't get it done in time because the V-Rex is right on our tail. So now it's up to Jack to buy some time for Carl and Hayes to open the door. It's up to you now, the player, to utilize your gun, the spears scattered around the environment, and your wits to help the team survive. Once the door is open, the trio runs through to safety. Except that they don't. The V-Rex crashes through a nearby wall and chases the group into a cave. At this point, we're cornered and there's nowhere to run. Just as the V-Rex breaks down the last bit of defense we have, it hears Anne's voice. It then redirects its attention and leaves us in one piece. After the tension subsides, the three continue on. However, Jack is separated from Carl and Hayes and must continue on to find Anne and meet up with them later. The original music for this level is an interesting case. At first, I had only heard it in the context of the game while playing, and I thought, it's okay, you know, kind of generic stuff, maybe a little too typical. However, when I went and listened to the OST, I came away with a newfound appreciation for the composition. So the song that plays throughout most of the level is called Relentless. Now to me, the instrument that carries this whole arrangement is the brass. It uses a range of articulations, a range of pitches, and creates a range of emotion. So it starts off strong, using swells and the flutter tongue technique. And I really love how aggressive this technique makes brass instruments sound. The brass is also used to fill out the composition with a lot of staccato work. Sustain is used in the B section of the composition to highlight the melody. The brass is almost always bright and aggressive, helping convey weight and power. The low percussion holds a marching pattern, with the high percussion adding small flourishes periodically. This is all giving a sense of forward, unstoppable momentum. The strings support the march by following the rhythm of the percussion, but playing double time, or twice as fast. The string ostinato climbs up in pitch and then repeats. So there's a repeating pattern of going up in pitch and then starting from the bottom and going up again. So all of these musical elements serve to highlight the threat of the V-Rex in this climactic level. While I really enjoyed the original piece, I wanted to get a bit more thematic, a bit more nuanced. Relentless as music sounds great, but it also sounds a bit run-of-the-mill, sounding like typical orchestral music. Now, this music was used in a few places throughout the game, and I'm not entirely sure what video game budgets were like in 2005. But I believe that the V-Rex level could have benefited from some more intense thematic composition. So, let's talk about it. In my remake, I wanted to emphasize one thing: tension. Now, most of what I can remember about King Kong is being terrified as a kid of the stuff you'd have to face as Jack. One of those things being this level. Not necessarily because of the dinosaur. I mean, that was scary too. But because there wasn't anything that I could do to stop it for good. At any point, I could make a wrong move and it's game over. So I wanted to convey that level of tension in my remake. Now again, I thought the original music was good, but I wanted to create a sense of almost paralyzing fear from meeting this unstoppable, ominous force. When the V-Rex appears, the moment is larger than life. Up until this point, Kong was the only massive creature that existed on Skull Island. Unfortunately, it turns out we're horribly wrong. So we start with a stinger. Think of a stinger as a short piece of music that is used in a transitionary fashion. I use a mix of choirs, string, percussion, and sound effects to create a balance of low and high-pitch elements to convey the size and intensity of the threat of the V-Rex. I wanted the entrance of the V-Rex to have the most weight. Our fleeting sense of manageability has now been ripped away from us with the realization that we can no longer stop everything that's on this island. Now, once it's time to run, I use a sub drop and an arpeggiated digital synth texture to create a sort of limbo state. I also use a similar technique later in the track, both times aiming to create a sharp contrast between the low and high-pitched elements. The main looping section of the track is founded in the low register, with aggressive cellos and basses. Now, violins, violas, and choirs fill in parts of this section to help raise the energy throughout the encounter. This section continues until the V-Rex leaves. Afterwards, I use the strings section to create some light accompaniment for the rest of the level. Now, the game is mostly quiet or without music when an event isn't happening, and I wanted to use that technique as well in my remake. And I would think silence is a fitting response to a near-death experience. So that's what went into the remake. But hey, let's see what's up now. This is the remake for the level V-Rex in Peter Jackson's King Kong, the official game of the movie.
Let's go, and stay alert. I have no idea what attacked them, but I have a feeling it isn't far away. Preston! We're right here!
Carl! There's an enormous, I don't know, it's some kind of monster. We got away, but he's still around here. Oh my God!
Run, Jimmy, run! Retreat! Retreat! Over there! Go, 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 go! Hold him back, Jack! I'll open the door! much longer? Get as far back as possible! Don't try anything. Don't even move. It's our only chance. He's gone.
He's gone after Ann.
At least it means she's still alive. She must have escaped.
That was unbelievable.
Hurry. Let's go see if there's any survivors. Jimmy! This way, Jack! Lumpy! Jimmy! You there? This way, Jack! Look out, Jack! Jack. Don't wait for us. We'll go around. Hurry up and find Ann.
So how'd you like the remake on Peter Jackson's King Kong? Go ahead and hit that thumbs up button if you liked it. And while you're at it, hey, look, there's a subscribe button right there and a bell. And go ahead and hit the bell as well so you can get notified on the next video. Cause the next video is a doozy. But that's all from me for now. So until next time, I'll see you when I see you.